Hello to our sisters and brothers of the Machinists Union and our allies in the labor movement. This is the 141 Report, and I'm your host, Dave Lee Ive, a communications representative for District Lodge 141. This week, we're back in Denver to talk to local 1886 United Airlines, Chip Wilson and Verne Luxenburg, who work under the IAM Fleet Technical Instructors and Related Employees Agreement. We will be talking about this important agreement that these highly trained workers do as members of our union. Join us as our 141 report starts now. Welcome, brother Chip and Verne. What a pleasure it is to have you on today's report. Where are you guys right now?
Well, let me show you right now. It looks like Captain Chip has us heading over to the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco. Here's brother Chip, the captain of the ship right now, flying. He's flying the Airbus A320. Right now, we're over the Pacific Ocean, heading east. There's the Golden Gate Bridge coming up, and then the city.
How interesting. We don't have a whole lot of time, so we got a lot of stuff to talk about. Can you guys give me a brief background on yourselves in the airline industry and your history as IAM members? Chip, I'll tell you what, why don't you go first?
I actually started with United back in 1992. Ground employment. Moved over to be a scheduler here at the training center in '94, and then became an instructor in 1996. So prior to doing that, I was in the Army for about 8 years. And I've actually had the benefit of being in the IAM since its inception when we joined it in 1997. So I've been a shop steward, currently serve as committeeman for the FTI and related agreement.
Great, thanks. Hey, Verne, how about yourself?
Well, I started in 1977 on the ramp in Los Angeles. Then Reagan fired the controllers in '81. I went over to LaGuardia, then to Kennedy. I was furloughed for 3 years. Then I transferred to Stapleton in 1985. I worked air freight in the ramp. Then in 1991, I transferred to San Diego, and I worked the ramp there. Then I got involved with the union. I became committee chair representing ramp and customer service. And then in 2002 to 2010, I was the assistant general chair representing employees in the ramp, customer service, city ticket office, air freight reservations, emergency procedure instructors, maintenance instructors, and fleet technical instructors. Then after that, I transferred and became an emergency procedure instructor, where I trained about 4,200 flight attendants a year that were based in Los Angeles, San Francisco, Honolulu, Narita, and Hong Kong. Then I became a fleet technical instructor on the 787 about a little over 6 years ago.
So, brother Chip, you represent a very small group of very highly experienced IAM members. Can you give us a breakdown of the different groups and the type of work that they do at United Airlines?
Yeah, I represent just shy of 150 members here, most of which are at the Flight Training Center. I've got a few emergency procedures instructors that I represent that are in San Francisco, and a few more in Chicago. But in addition to the fleet technical instructors for all 5 fleets at United, I also have the flight training program developers, which are basically the folks that put our courseware together, keep everything in up to United standards, maintain discipline with the flight manuals, all the instructor manuals, all the courseware. And we also have multimedia designers. And those are the folks that take care of the majority of our graphics, as well as some audio and visual work here at the Flight Training Center, as well as out at DIA to help out there. Had an incredible bunch of people, as you said, most of which are pretty specifically skilled.
So Chip, the question I have is, United Airlines, we went through a merger with Continental. Did we merge in some of these groups? Did they come in under the merger between the two carriers?
So actually, Dave, we didn't. We had all of this in place beforehand. We had some groups that accreted into the IAM once the FTIs were part of the union. But Continental, when we did the merger, they actually had a group of ground school instructors down there. I want to say 22 to 25 folks that wanted to join once the move took place. We actually negotiated a separate agreement with them first, brought them into the IAM, and then we went ahead and merged the two groups in a combined agreement in 2014.
So, Brother Verne, you've moved around a bit in your travels. You know, you are in a simulator now and you help train pilots. Can you tell the viewers about this important work?
Yes, the type of work we do is very specific. Each one of us, we have fleet technical instructors for each fleet. So Chip is overseeing the group that trains pilots on the Airbus, the A319 and A320. I train pilots on the 787. So when pilots bid and they come across to my fleet, they might have come off of the 737 or the Airbus or the 756 fleet or the 777. When they bid over, we're the first face that they see. So we go through an introduction. We make sure administrative things are taken care of, that they've taken necessary systems training, testing prior. I shouldn't say testing, CBTs. And then we actually take them through a systems phase. So we take them in the simulator, we introduce them to this airplane. We go ahead and we go over every button, every switch. What does it mean? How does it work? Because some fleets are similar to others, but then other fleets are different. So we have to show them all of that. We go through the initial pre-flight, how to set up the computer for navigation. And we do a lot of things that we call normals. Then in subsequent lessons, we give them non-normals so we can talk about systems training. So we might fail fuel pumps and hydraulic pumps and give them engine fires, etc. The main reason is so we can have an in-depth system instruction so they can learn how to solve different problems and what the systems means to them.
Okay.
And then we test them on it after the fourth day.
Really interesting. Brother Chip, I got to ask you, so we're talking about unions, we're union members. How important is it that your members, you know, the 150 people that are represented under the IAM, how important is it you guys are represented by a union and not at-will workers?
It's incredibly important. A number of years ago, of course, we did the furloughs reduction after 9/11. We used to have 9 fleets at United. We went down to 5. And there were a lot of furloughs that were going on. And we actually lost quite a few members. And without that support of the IAM and the union, we would have actually furloughed to 0. Instead, we were able to hang on to members, keep the position in the core work, which was incredibly important. And it's definitely proved itself to be a very important part of our existence at United here at the Flight Training Center for all the members that are in it.
Brother Verne, we've, over the past year and a half, it's been a very difficult one on many people's lives. You especially had a very close call with COVID. Can you tell the viewers about what happened? And the follow-up question I have is, with this new, more easily transmittable Delta variant that we're hearing about, what advice would you give to our members and precautions they should be taking?
Well, the COVID, early on, I want to say it was March of last year, maybe February of 2020. COVID was starting to make its way around, and it was starting to grow in the Denver area slowly. I ended up training one of my colleagues, or I was observing him teach. I was doing a quality check of him March 19th, and March 16th. On March 19th, he got symptoms. On March 20th, I got symptoms. And we both ended up in the hospital on March 25th for 3 weeks, and we were both on the ventilator for a week. We both ended up getting it at work because we happen to work in an environment where we have pilots and some flight attendants that are traveling the globe, being exposed to illnesses from all over the different countries. So, I was out for quite some time. And right now I'm just using some oxygen at night. But other than that, I seem to be doing okay at work.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good. I'm glad that you're fully recovered. There was a lot of people worried about you, Verne.
Well, I appreciate that, Brother Dave. With regard to the Delta variant, there's so much of COVID they don't know. The Delta variant seems to be a little bit more aggressive and easier to be transmitted. The only thing I can say is, I was kind of hesitant to take the vaccine myself, not because I'm an anti-vaxxer by nature. I just had such a bad experience being on the ventilator and almost not making it, that I was concerned about how my body would react to the vaccine.
Absolutely.
But I recently just got my first dose of the vaccine, and I'm going to get a second dose coming up in the beginning of August. And then I'll be fully vaccinated about August 14th or 15th. And I'm looking forward to visiting my father, who's 90. He's going to be 91 the middle of August, and my mom's going to be 92 in November. And I actually haven't been on an airplane in almost 2 years, which was my mom's 90th birthday at the time. So yeah. I know they're concerned about me visiting them, not being vaccinated. So I want to get it, especially for them. But as far as advice to others, I would just have to say it's a very personal decision. I would have them, talk to their medical professionals, because that's certainly beyond my area of expertise. Certain people have certain allergies and maybe certain reactions to some vaccines that others may have. Yeah.
Understood. Okay. So, Brother Chip, when you guys have grievances, and every group, they have a problem, they arise, that needs to be handled between the company and the union. And you guys, as a committee person, you handle the issues. But when there's a problem that needs to be elevated, who do you work with in the district level?
So as far as the district level, we've got an assistant general chairman right now, is Eric Stenberg. But what's nice is we also have some pretty close-in support with local lodge 1886. AGC Richie Robinson is out there, so we lean on them quite a bit. But Eric has been representing us for quite some time. Was involved in the last contract negotiation. He's pretty much our go-to guy.
Okay, great.
And of course, he's always happy to discuss stuff with the president.
So, Verne, with the recent announcement from United placing really huge aircraft orders, how do you see job security now for IAM members?
Well, I'll tell you, Brother Dave, things have changed rapidly. About a year ago, when I was still on the walker, coming out of the hospital, the company was talking about massive layoffs because the airline industry was almost shut down. And at that time, to put it in perspective, I was probably in the bottom third of the seniority list. Even though I have almost 44 years company seniority, class seniority, I was in the bottom third. And in just a little over a year, we've hired so many FTIs, so I'm less than the top third right now. So we're doing a lot of FTI hiring right now. Due to the growth, our sims in just about every fleet are operating at near max capacity. So I feel that the job security right now appears to look very well.
Yeah, that's the general vibe that I'm getting from a lot of the United people I've been talking to. Well, it's almost time to close out this interview. I usually like to ask my guests, is there anything that maybe you guys might want to mention before we close out? Verne, Chip?
Just, thank you very much for giving this opportunity. This is a very niche kind of work. I worked at the airlines for a lot of years and didn't know that this job was even available. If any of our brothers and sisters from the ramp customer service or other classifications are interested, I would recommend that they look up getting an advanced ground instructor and instrument ground instructor certificates at the very least, so they can learn to speak pilot speak and have a better understanding. And there might be some IAM represented folks that already have a flying background that may consider this as a career path. Right now, this position is only in Denver, so they would have to make a move here.
Okay.
But
All right,
but
good.
if it's something that interests them, I would highly recommend that.
Chip, how about yourself? You got anything you want to say before we close out? We're running out of time. We only got a couple of minutes left.
You know what, Brother Dave, I appreciate the opportunity to talk with you. I enjoyed sharing our office with you.
Yeah, I mean, it's really,
4,000 feet.
I
So
did not
we're about to make a
expect-
turn over San Francisco.
yeah, I did not expect to see this, really. I mean, to see this view, you know, I've interviewed a lot of guests, and to have this type of interview has been great. So I really appreciate the time.
Here's the bridge. Here's the city right here. I don't know if you can see it. We're coming over the city of
That
San
is just,
Francisco.
that is just incredible. It's so realistic.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So let's see. So thank you, brothers, for this interesting report and taking the time to talk to me today. Greatly appreciate it. This concludes this week's 141 report. I want to thank you and all the viewers for tuning in to watch our show today. We appreciate it when you like, share, follow, subscribe to our social media sites that can be found on IAM141.org's website. Also, be sure to sign up for our emails. Everyone, have a great weekend. Brothers, thank you so much for coming on. I do appreciate it. And have a great weekend.
Thank you, Brother Dave. Take care.
Take care, fellas. See you later now. Bye-bye.